Hi folks, Wooden Boat Dan here. Just wanted to give you a heads up. The podcast you're about to listen to was recorded several years ago, so some of the phone numbers, email addresses, website links, and time-sensitive information are no longer valid. Please keep that in mind as you listen. If you'd like to contact me, my email address is woodenboatdan@gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Hooked on Wooden Boats weekly podcast episode number 36. I am your host, Dan Matson, and this is the world's first podcast fully dedicated to celebrating the art, craft, history, and tradition of wooden boats. Thanks for tuning in today. Good to have you listening. We're going to have a lot of fun today as usual. Every week is a fun week in the wooden boat world. Our featured segment today is several interviews, short interviews that I did at the Olympia Wooden Boat Fair a week and a half ago in Olympia, Washington. Had an absolute blast there. So I'm going to be playing an interview with Megan Guritiz, who was a fair coordinator, Ray Gillespie, who is a 92-year-old, very spry gentleman who's been involved in the Sea Scouts since 1965, and then I have a short clip with Michonne and Danielle Ewart, who are sisters that own a 1935 Edmonk Senior cutter that's 28 feet length overall. So stick around for the featured segment. It's going to be a lot of fun. I would love it if you would connect with me through email at dan@hookedonwoodenboats.com or subscribe to my e-news list. If you go to hookedonwoodenboats.com/subscribe, that'll take you to the page where you can give me your name and email address, and then you'll be on my list to receive approximately a monthly update on the wooden boat world. You can leave comments on my blog, on my website, hookedonwoodenboats.com, or you can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest by searching for Wooden Boat Dan there. Please send pictures, stories, illustrations, anything having to do with wooden boats. I'd love to see what you're working on or the boats that you own. It's always fun to do that, see what everybody's up to in the wooden boat world. Well, this past weekend, had an absolute blast again. I went to the first annual Pocket Yachters Palooza in Port Townsend, Washington. This event was organized by Marty Loken of the Island Boat Shop, who I interviewed 3 or 4 months ago for my podcast. And the idea is to bring a group of 10 to 23-foot boats together, boats that are trailable, that you can row or sail, that are easy to get around, and just celebrate small craft tradition and swap stories and photographs and have a grand time. And I had an absolute blast there. I was there all day on last Saturday over in Port Townsend, Washington, and I did 5 different interviews that day. Interviewed Lee Bjorklund, who owns the We Seal Design Ian Outred boat called the Opus. Absolutely gorgeous double-end lapstrake sailboat, 19 or 20 feet. Interviewed Marty Loken from Island Boat Shop, Pete Leenhouts, Northwest School of Wooden Boat Building, Josh Colvin, publisher of Small Craft Advisor magazine, and then I got the grand banana of them all. I got to interview Howard Rice, who's a small boat adventurer, the only guy who has doubled Cape Horn in a 15-foot sailing canoe. Seriously, he did that. 3.5-month voyage, trained for 3 years for it, including some training with the Navy SEALs, water temperature 38 degrees, snow flurries most of the time, 2 capsizes. This is some serious stuff, folks. So I had the privilege to interview Howard for about 30 minutes that day. So that'll be coming on an upcoming show. You won't want to miss that one for sure. Well, we've got some upcoming events here I wanted to talk about. One is at the Lady Washington Tall Ship, which is based out of Grays Harbor, Washington, or Aberdeen, Washington. She was built in 1989, the official ship of Washington State, and they're pulling her out June 14th to do some work on her, and they need volunteers to help, people of all skill levels. So between June 14th and early August, if you have any time available, you can go out to Grays Harbor, Washington, and help out. They would love to have you come out there. You can call 800-200-5239 or go to their website, historicalseaport.org. This would be a great opportunity to get your feet wet with wooden boats, to learn more about wooden boats, help out a great event. And my buddy down there, Les Bolton, at the Grays Harbor Historical Seaport. And they are also looking for some paid positions that would start in June. For the Lady Washington, they need an engineer, a mate, an education officer, and a cook. So lots of great opportunities there. I would encourage you to check that out. Again, you can go to historicalseaport.org and get all the information there. There's a small sailing boat called a SCAMP, which stands for Small Craft Advisory Magazine Project. And this is a John Welsford designed boat that's soon to become a one-class boat. It's designed to be super stable, sleep one or two people, easily trailable, very seaworthy. We're talking a boat that kind of can do everything, that's just an inch short of 12 feet long. Sailboat. It's got a balance lug rig, I believe it's called. In fact, I saw the boat when I was there this weekend. And anyway, there's going to be a class coming up here at the Northwest Maritime Center, co-sponsored by Northwest School of Wooden Boat Building, where they're actually going to build one of these in a 2-week class. Actually, you can build your own during the class. And I'm going to play a short clip here with Pete Leenhouts, and he's going to talk about the class and how that works this August. So take it away, Pete. Pete is the interim director of the Northwest School of Wooden Boat Building, and I understand you're having a class in August, Pete. You're going to build a SCAMP. So tell me about that. Tell me about the boat and the class.
Sure. The SCAMP is a 11-foot 11 microcruiser designed by New Zealand designer John Welsford. And John is just profiled in the March-April of Wooden Boat magazine, and the SCAMP is one of his most popular designs. It was commissioned by Josh Colvin, actually, the editor of Small Craft Advisor magazine here in Port Townsend. And it was designed to be a trailable cruiser, water ballasted, that can sleep one or two people. It's easy to tow and isn't really one of these very expensive, you need to know a lot to run the boat kind of boats. And it's drawn a huge amount of attention. And we noticed at the Port Townsend Festival last year, at the Wooden Boat Festival here in Port Townsend, that it was attracting a lot of attention. So I asked John, would you like to come to the boat school and teach a course in building the SCAMP since you designed it? And he said, why, sure, I'd be happy to do that. And then we started looking for classroom space and decided that we could host it up here in Port Townsend since we're in Port Hadlock, about 10 miles south of us. Yeah. And we decided we'd work with Jake Beatty at the Northwest Maritime Center, and he loaned us Scott Jones as boat shop manager, who's also a boat school graduate, one of our graduates out of the contemporary course, and we set the course up for the 6th to the 17th of August. So we're looking for 12 boat owners or wannabe boat owners, and I would count myself in that group, and 12 people that would like to help. So we can take up to 24 folks, and basically the boat owners want to buy a kit from Turnpoint Design through Small Craft Advisor, which has been significantly discounted, and then the kits will be delivered up here, and we build the hull and close and the deck in basically the 2 weeks of the class. Okay. And then finish it after that. It would be finished on their own, basically, with lots of help.
So what does the class cost, and how much are the kits approximately?
The class is going to cost $995, which is runs from 7:30 in the morning on Monday, the 6th of August, to Friday, the 17th of August. At 5 p.m.
2012,
right?
Yeah, okay.
Right through the weekend, because John will be here all weekend to help. and we have 4 shop assistants set up, one of which is Howard Rice, the world-famous adventurer and person that sailed around Cape Horn in his kayak and gets involved in these small sailing clinics, which are all over the United States now. One starts tomorrow, actually. He's going to teach it here in Port Townsend. And the kit comes from Small Craft Advisor, and off the top of my head, I'm stumped just a touch on the kit, which I think is something on the order of $1,900, which is a steal, basically. Turn points, turning these things out for almost no profit, to get the course going for us. So Howard is in the process of registering the SCAMP as a one design, so it has a formal design with the U.S. Sailing Association. And so there's quite a bit of interest, and I think we'll do pretty well on this class.
So if somebody wants to attend, what do they need to do, Pete?
Well, they give me a call on the phone at 360-385-4948, or they can talk to us through our email, summer2012@nwboatschool.org, or they can look at our website and link to us through there, and our website is www.nwboatschool.org.
Okay, very cool.
Lots of different ways to talk to us. And my email address at the school is pete@nwboatschool.org.
Okay, very good. And again, that's August 6th through the 17th, 2012 in Port Townsend.
In Port Townsend. So we'll do the registrations from Port Hadlock, but John Welsford and Howard Rice, Scott Jones, and one of our other alumni is going to teach the course up here. So it's going to be a great course, and I think it'll be about 3 to 4 students per instructor class, and there'll be extra instructors up here too. So and it's a great location. You can see, look around. We've got the entire Puget Sound out here, the Admiralty Inlet, Northwest Maritime Center, and their piers, and all the Port Townsend right at your feet. So this is a great place for a class like this.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Okay, Pete, thanks for that info, and I would really encourage folks that are able to sign up for that class, build a SCAMP, and have a blast. You can't go wrong with John Welsford there and Howard Rice. It's going to be a lot of fun. August 6th through the 17th, 2012, Port Townsend, Washington. Let's see, the other thing here, I've got some events listed on my blog, upcoming wooden boat events, mainly in the Pacific Northwest. But if you have events that you would like to have posted on my site, send me an email, and if they're appropriate for what I'm doing there, I'd be glad to put them up for you. Again, Dan at hookedonwoodenboats.com. Okay, we're going to move on to the interviews now. So there's 3 interviews coming up here. One of them is with Megan Guritiz, who is the fair coordinator for the Olympia Wooden Boat Fair. That interview is about 7 minutes. Then I'm going to go right from that interview to an interview with Ray Gillespie. Ray is a 92-year-old gentleman who's a Sea Scout guy and got some really fun stories. 9.5 minutes on that. And then Michonne and Danielle Ewert is about 7 minutes. So I'm just going to play these 3 interviews in succession. Take it away, Megan. Okay, it is May 12th, 2012, and I am sitting with Megan Guritiz at the 33rd Annual Olympic Wooden Boat Fair. Welcome to the show, Megan.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we just hooked up a little bit ago. I was telling Megan it was my first time to the fair here. And so you're the fair coordinator. How long have you been doing that, Megan?
About six or 7 years maybe.
6 or 7 years?
Yeah,
okay. So
kind of blurs together over the years.
How did you get involved in that?
I actually was friends with some of the club members and stuff, and they were looking for a new coordinator, and I'd done some smaller things, and so kind of jumped into it kind of before I really knew what I was getting into, and
really?
I ended up loving it, and I've stayed ever since, and so it's always a really exciting event to do.
Cool.
So,
So before I ask you some more events or more about the fair, tell me a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, how you got into boating, and especially into wooden boats.
Okay. Well, I grew up out here in Olympia, out Caroline Beach, and always lived by the bay most of my life, and just I've always loved that, and so and boats tend to come along with it. Ended up coordinating the fair. One year they ended up needing a new coordinator, and a friend of mine was telling me about it, so I took it on. It was a challenge the first couple of years, but each year I learned something new, and so kind of grow with them. And It's always a lot of fun. I also work at a school.
Okay.
And so I'm a paraeducator the rest of the year.
I see.
So,
I see.
yeah.
So when did you first start noticing or liking wooden boats?
I grew up going out on boats when I was younger. And then these guys have really opened up a lot. I've got a lot of friends that have wooden boats, and I've found it's much more cost effective than actually buying my own boat.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
I looked at one a few years
I hear
back,
that a lot.
and I decided it's really a smarter move to just go visit with them on their boats and and enjoy it that way. So
So you enjoy getting out on other people's boats. Yeah.
Which is a perk of the job.
Yeah.
So,
very cool. So what kind of boats do you go out on? I'm just curious.
There's a whole assortment of them. Chris Crafts are one of them that I go hang out on. The club president has one that was an original built by his father, and that one is unfortunately not here this year because they've pulled it out of the water to do some more restoration on it.
I see.
But it was actually originally built down in California.
Oh, really?
And so it's kind of neat. He's got lots and lots of stories about the history of it. And so usually that's where I am, and that's the Diana van.
Okay.
And so,
that's a Chris Craft, you say?
No, it's an original built.
Oh, okay. Kind of a one design type of thing?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, out of all the boats you hang out around, do you have any personal favorites?
I don't know if I should answer that. They might not let me back on the boat. But I think I love the stories with the Diana van, Hal Van Gelder's boat. And he always tells a great story, and I love hanging out, listening to them and on their boat.
I've heard that name too, Hal, before from some other people.
Yeah.
So tell me about that boat a little bit more. What length is it, and what kind of style boat? Do you know?
I'm not totally sure on the length.
Would you guess 40, 50 feet? Or?
Around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so.
Yeah.
But.
It was built in California.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably in the. Yeah, we can pause here for just a second. So I'm back with Megan. So Megan, so tell me, the fair lasts one day each year. 2 days. It is 2 days. That's right. Okay,
yeah,
so it's Saturday and Sunday, Mother's Day weekend every year.
Yep.
So what are some of the activities that are going on today and tomorrow?
Well, today we have down under one of the pavilions down here, we have children's boat building, which is lots of fun. It's great. The kids always love it. They hammer away and hammer away. But it's all donated. All the lumber is donated by Curtis Lumber, and then we have the Olympia High School shop class that cuts them into hulls, so it's all pre-cut, and the kids can just put the pieces together and they nail them together.
Cool.
A lot of times they have different string. They can tie, things off the mast if they want to. And we also got this year that was new, that was really cool. We have a touch tank down there right next to the children's boat building.
Yeah.
So they can see some of the sea creatures that are in our bay here.
Oh, really?
So that's pretty cool. That was new. We had one years ago, but we just got one back. It's been probably 5-6 years since we've had one.
Yeah.
So we were very excited about that.
Yeah.
There's bands all weekend, which is always fun. Sunday we have the Irish dancers that come in. They're a great group to see.
Really?
They're a lot of fun. Yeah. There's
lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Is there, do any of the boats take people out on the water during the fair?
No, during the fair we usually try to keep. None of the boats are for sale. They're all just for people to come look at, and we don't have them come in and out because we want them all to be down here. So when people come down, the boats are all here, and some of them will allow you to board, and generally they just, it's common courtesy kind of things. Ask the captain or someone aboard before you climb on their boat. But
How many boats are here today exhibiting,
I think we have mid-30s right around in there. I'm not exactly sure, but I know the docks are full. So
is the, I'm assuming the Odyssey or the Charles and Curtis maybe are the bigger boats down there?
Yeah.
Which were the Sea Scouts in Tacoma?
Yes.
Yeah, right. And I actually interviewed Tom Rogers and Bud Bronson for my podcast a couple months ago.
Oh, cool.
And got to tour those boats. It's really
great.
cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing those again.
Yeah.
So anything else we need to know about the fair, Megan?
No, there's tons of arts and crafts. There's the kids' activities today. There's a lot of those. And then all the boats down there. So, yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview just on the spur of the moment.
Sure.
Just kind of walk up, introduce myself, and say, okay, let's do an interview.
Yeah, it's been a fun day, though. It made it interesting.
Very good. Any parting comments for our listeners?
No, just thank you so much for coming down and doing this. We really appreciate it. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Megan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm the oldest.
Hang on just a second here, Ray. We're back on our podcast here, and so now we've got Ray Gillespie here and also Hal Van Gilder. So, Ray, tell me what you were just talking about there.
Oh, well.
You're the oldest.
My background is I'm probably the oldest consistently registered member of the Boy Scouts of America. I joined it when I was about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And that happened to have been about 82 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. You're not really 92, are you?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
And I've also attended and been part of this boat show since the day it started.
Is that right?
You have too, haven't you?
I've been here for about 12 years.
Oh, I got you. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody asked me, well, how many years was that? And I said, I haven't the slightest idea. Find out how old this show is.
1979, huh?
Yeah.
So you've been involved since day one.
Oh, yeah.
So how long have you been involved with the Sea Scouts?
Well, this particular group, I helped get it organized in 1965.
Oh, is that right? To get it started, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me about the vessel they use for their training.
Have you seen it?
No, I'm gonna go see it. What's the name of it?
Well, it's a 36-foot World War II Captains Gig, and it was in terrible shape over in Tacoma, and our little group here didn't even have a canoe.
Oh, really?
But we had a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But no boat. And a friend of mine that I knew in Tacoma, I grew up in Tacoma, and he called me up. He said, I understand you don't have a boat. I said, that's right. He said, come on over and take a look at this. We did. Well, there it sat with a great big beautiful 671 Jimmy engine. The head was off and all the parts was all over the engine room. And I said, well, what can we do with this? Well, it's a nice boat. It floats. Well, we made a deal with them that we'd buy the parts if they'd put it all back together and then take our group for a cruise from Tacoma down to Olympia.
Uh-huh.
And if it made it, we'd take it.
Nice.
And we still got it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a World War II what kind of boat?
Captain's Gig.
Captain's Gig?
GIG.
GIG. So what does that mean? What was that thing used for?
Well, it was used like a limousine for the officers
I see.
to haul them from ship to ship or from ship to shore.
I see. Interesting. What year what year it was built?
Yeah. I gotta get my thinking cap on now.
Okay.
I took a peek over there, and they're sitting over there. I saw them.
19 Was it like in the
it was
40s?
the year before the war ended. That would be 1944, 3 or 4.
Okay. 1943 to 1944. Okay. So that's been in the club, the Sea Scouts, since 1965 when it started?
No, it was about. There's a plaque on the back of the door. It opens and shut, and it's got the dedication and everything on it. They really threw me a left-handed curve. I made arrangements to get the boat for them.
Yeah.
And they took my wife and I up there to have a brunch.
Uh-huh.
What's that little restaurant that runs along?
I don't know. Not McDonald's, is it?
No. What's that restaurant, that real nice one that runs along the waterfront here?
The Olympia Oyster House?
Oyster House. They took us to the Oyster House.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And all the adults in the program and their wives, we all were in there, and all unbeknownst to me, they had a dedication program. And we had every big wheel in the Olympia area down there for this dedication.
Wow.
And we came out of the Oyster House, and they said, let's go around and see what the kids are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our boat's usually way over here.
Oh.
And here it was down at Percival.
Down at Percival?
And they had a podium set up, and they had a few speakers and dedicated the boat. And
nice.
that's when they changed the name.
Oh, so what is the name of the boat now?
See the hat? That's the name of the boat.
What is it? Oh, the hat. Oh, it's the Ray Gillespie.
That's the name of the boat.
After you.
And they dedicated it.
No. I'm just saying.
And then of all things, they said, well, Ray, why don't you step up and say something? I got up there and I says, all I can say is it's not nice to make an old man cry. And I got down off of the podium.
Very nice. So do you get out on the water, Ray? In boats these days?
No, not much anymore.
Not much anymore, okay.
I'm too crippled up with arthritis. I can't hardly... It just, from the parking lot to here was a chore.
Yeah. So, but you've done a lot of boating over the years, obviously, huh?
The what?
You've done a lot of boating over the years? Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, we've taken Sea Scout trips to Alaska 3 times.
Oh, really?
And,
in the Ray Gillespie?
No, we don't go that far.
Okay.
But there's a 65-footer there was one in Whidbey Island and one in Seattle, and I've been to Alaska on both of them.
Okay.
And one of them twice and one of them once. And the one that we went up on in sometime in the 80s, we got shipwrecked.
Oh, really?
There was 23 or 24 of us on board. And we got into a windstorm and put us on the rock.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, how did you get off the boat? Did you get it in the...
Well, I wrote a book and published it called Down in the Bow, Stern High on the Reef. And it's, I got about 10 copies with me. I don't go anywhere without some of my books till they're gone.
Yeah.
But it's full of pictures of all the kids. And we had half of the crew was from Portland. They were girls.
Yeah.
The other half was boys from here. And the skipper was from Seattle. The engineer originally was from Seattle, and then it ended up my assistant was the chief engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He still lives out here someplace. But we had quite an experience, and nobody got hurt.
Is that right?
Not a soul.
Wow. Did the boat survive?
No, it's still down on the bottom somewhere.
Oh, is there? You gonna go back and get it? Go diving for it, Ray?
Well, no, we went up. We went up 3 years later with another crew. There was only 2 of us on board that had been on the first cruise.
Mm-hmm.
It was the skipper and myself, and it was just all of a sudden somebody come down and says, "Hey, the skipper wants you in the wheelhouse." So I went up. He says, "Take your blooming hat off." He says, "There lies the propeller," and that was the name of the vessel. Right down here. He pointed. That's where we lost it.
Oh, really? Funny. Well, very good. Well, thanks for being on my show today, Ray. I appreciate it.
Your show?
Yeah, we're recording a podcast today, so you'll be famous.
Now you tell me.
Anybody in the world that has internet can listen to this. See, so
I came down here. I got a sack. I want 100 buttons.
100 buttons? We can get you 100 buttons.
okay. Thanks, Ray. They should keep the plastic boats out of here though during the
It's a wooden boat show. What are you doing?
Yeah, really. Okay, it is May 12, 2012. I am sitting here with Michon. What's your last name, Michon?
Michon Ewart, E-W-A-R-T.
Michon Ewart, and we are at the Wooden Boat Fair in Olympia, Washington. And we're sitting on a beautiful Ed Monk designed sailboat. So tell me about this boat, Michon.
Well, it was built in 1935. It was designed by Ed Monk Sr. and it was built by Hugh Garrett. It's a little cutter rig. It has about a 4-foot draft and about a 5-foot beam. Just all wood and gorgeous.
Yeah, okay. So what year was the boat built?
1935.
1935. And what's the length?
28 feet overall and 21 on deck. It has both a bowsprit and a boomkin.
Okay. A boom what?
A boomkin. It's
Okay.
basically a bowsprit just on the stern end of the boat.
Oh, really? Okay, I see that now. I don't know all the names of that fancy stuff. So how long have you owned the boat? You and your sister own the boat, is that right?
Yeah, my sister and I both own the boat.
Okay.
Actually, our dad got it, and we had to prove to him that we could help work on the boat to be able to own it ourselves. But
Okay.
total, our family has owned it for about 7 years. My sister worked on it for about a year, and well, my sister and I, and then we had it given to us, and so now it's our boat.
Very cool. So do you guys get out on the water some on this boat?
We definitely get out on the water. It's our favorite pastime. We actually have a couple boats. This one's more of our show boat and relaxing, but we also have a fiberglass boat, not
Okay.
appropriate for a wooden boat show.
Yeah.
But we definitely get out on the water quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. So do you know the history of this boat, Michon?
I know a little bit. It was built in 1935. It was built up in Seattle. This is actually the boat that established Hugh Garrett's building career, same as Ed Monk Sr.'s designs. And this boat is what is thought to be the boat that designed the Flicka as well, if anyone knows about the Flicka.
Okay, okay. Is the Flicka a bigger boat or?
The Flicka is a bigger boat, yes. I don't know full details about the Flicka, but it's pretty well known, actually. And this boat has actually been halfway to Hawaii and then came back.
Seriously?
Yeah, their husband and wife took off. About halfway, the wife, something happened to her and didn't quite make it back when he came back.
Really?
Exactly.
Wow, that's kind of weird. Yeah. So, is this boat? Do you know anything about how it's built, as far as the planking and so on?
It is carvel planking.
Yeah.
It's carvel planking. It's cedar on oak. There's a bunch of different kinds of woods. We have cedar, oak. What is it?
Got some mahogany on here?
Yeah, we definitely have mahogany, and then we have gum tree.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
different.
Yeah, and the spars are all wood too.
Yes, everything.
Yeah. Okay. So, has your family been into wooden boats for a long time? Your parents?
My mom, not so much. My dad, definitely. We've had boats our entire lives. I actually grew up on a 36-foot skookum.
Skookum.
Yes, and that's a fiberglass boat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you know how to sail this boat?
Yes.
Okay. So where do you take the boat out at?
We mainly just take it into Hammersley Inlet because that's where we're stationed out of, is Shelton.
Okay.
And so we don't take it out of there too much unless we're going to shows like this or whatnot.
How many years have you guys been coming to the show?
This is our 5th year at the show. We've actually won Favorite Sailboat 3 years out of... This will be our 5th year, but we won't find out till tomorrow what the standings are.
Really? Okay. So have you guys taken this boat out of South Sound and up north at all?
No.
Or? No? Okay.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
We're planning on doing that soon with our other boat. This one, not quite comfortable enough for...
Not quite as roomy, is it?
No.
Yeah. So how did you learn to sail?
My dad taught us. Just growing up, we'd always he'd always be saying side notes, and after a while you just learn little things like that after a while. So our dad.
Yeah, okay. So do you, just your dog here?
Yes, this is my dog. His name is T2.
T2?
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of dog is he?
He's Golden Retriever and Malamute mix.
Okay, and this is your sister?
Yes, this is my sister.
What's your name?
Danielle Ewert.
Danielle. I'm Dan.
Hi.
This is Michon. You know Michon already, though, right? So we're just kind of talking about out the boat here. Tell me what you like about this boat, Danielle.
I really love the lines and how each side is symmetrical to each other. So pretty much, if we took apart one part of each side, they would just match perfectly. And I really like that.
Yeah.
And just the lines and the shape, it's just really cute. And it's not too much. It's just the perfect size.
Yeah. You guys keep her in the water year round? Really?
Yep. We keep her in the water, but we also keep her in a boathouse throughout the winters
Oh,
and such.
you do? Okay.
The mast tabernacles down,
Oh, nice.
so we are lucky enough to store it.
Keep her covered up.
Yes.
So what kind of maintenance do you have to do on her?
We have to oil the wood we usually use Daly's teak oil.
Yeah.
And we use a rag and then wet sand it, and then we paint the deck. We don't do that often, but we did that a couple years ago. We painted the deck tan, and we re-canvas the house.
Oh, really?
With Sumbrella, that was our most recent project. Is
Okay.
we have a floating canvas of Sumbrella across the top.
Really?
Yep.
Sumbrella?
Sumbrella.
Is that a material?
Yes.
Yes,
type of thing?
it's like canvas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see you got some plaques on the top of the boat there.
Yeah, we won favorite sailboat 2 years in a row, and then we missed, I think it was the 2010 Wooden Boat Fair, and then we won again the 2011 Wooden Boat
Okay.
Fair
That's
for
a-
favorite sailboat.
Cool. Michon was saying that earlier, I guess. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is it about wooden boats that you girls really like?
I think it's just that we love boats in general, and wooden boats, it's just, I like the bright work on them.
You feel more like a boater if you're a wood boat person, because there's so much more maintenance and everything you have to keep up on. It's just never ending, and it gives you a much more appreciation for the boat and how much hard work you've put into it.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So, any parting comments for our listeners here on Hooked on Wooden Boats?
Well, if you don't have a wooden boat already, you might as well get one. They're worth it.
Okay. Very cool.
I'd probably say the best time to get a wooden boat if you have a lot of time on your hands. It's a lot harder to keep up on a wooden boat if you are busy all the time, but we manage, so.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Well, thanks for joining me on the show today.
You're very
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Okay. Have a good day.
Yep, you too.
Bye-bye. Thanks again to Megan, Ray, and Michon and Danielle for allowing me to do those interviews. I had an absolute blast at the Olympia Wooden Boat Fair. I was given a very warm welcome by everybody, including especially Megan. I just kind of showed up there last Saturday and went right to the director's tent and said, "Hey, what's going on? Let's do an interview." And Megan was all over it, so that was pretty fun. And let's see here. Yes, what I would like next to talk about is, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my podcast in iTunes. If you go to iTunes to the podcast section of their store and you search for Hooked on Wooden Boats, you'll have a button there you can subscribe to the podcast, and that way it shows up on your iPod, your iPhone, your iPad, or MP3 player, your Droid phone, whatever you got. And you can also subscribe from my website by clicking on the RSS button, which is an orange button. Also, I'd love it if you would leave me a 5-star review in iTunes. That would be awesome, getting the word out about the podcast. Next week will be a couple more interviews, shorter interviews that I did with two gentlemen I met at the Olympia Wooden Boat Fair. Bob Speck, who's built about 18 boats as a hobbyist. His most recent build that he's using these days is a 10-foot, 1/4 scale Pacific or East Coast tugboat. It's got a 2.5 horsepower diesel engine, fully functional, Really cool little boat. Had a great interview with Bob. I would encourage you to come back for that. And then I had an interview with Hal Van Gilder, who owns the Diana van, which is a wooden cruiser built by his dad in 1932 in San Pedro, California. 39 feet, 6 inches long. Very fun story there. That'll be coming up next week. If you'd like to support me and the podcast a little bit, you can do so by making a purchase from Amazon or from Jamestown Distributors. The way that works is you would go to my homepage, click on the Resources tab, and once you're there, click on any of the items listed that are sold through Amazon. That will redirect you to Amazon, and then if you make a purchase of anything on Amazon at that point, I get paid a small commission. Also, the other way is Jamestown Distributors is a marine supplier, and they also sell boat building supplies. They've got a big catalog, lots of good stuff, and real fair prices. If you click on the button on my homepage for Jamestown Distributors, that'll take you to their website. If you make a purchase within 30 days, I get paid a little commission on that. So appreciate the support. If you feel like doing that, go for it. Well, it's been another fun week in the wooden boat world. Appreciate you tuning in. I hope you're enjoying the show. Please give me feedback if you feel like it, or even if you don't feel like it. No, I'm just kidding. You can give me feedback at dan@hookedonwoodenboats.com. And I would love to hear from you. It makes the show worthwhile. And, we're going to be coming up on a year here in October, which is pretty cool. Got a lot of exciting events coming up this summer, wooden boat festivals and things like that to go to and do some more fun interviews. So you'll want to stick around and stay tuned. Anyway, have a great week. Keep the sunny side up and the barnacled side down. Wooden Boat Dan over and out. We'll talk again soon. Take care.